Hey guys and girls, this is Martin from How to Make Mobile Games, and this is a continuation of the developer diary for clear shooting Sniper X. So I think this is roughly video 5 or 6, something like that, and this is roughly the 5th or 6th day that I've been working on the game so far. It's I guess at the moment is roughly 90% complete. So I've had some more ideas and I've had some kind of inspirations as well. So I don't think there's any major changes since the last video. One of the biggest parts in the last video was basically kind of including the music and then having different music in each scene as well. So why don't I'll just have a quick playthrough and then you guys can see where we're up to. And then you can kind of see how this is progressing over the course of the development cycle. I think the music is going to get a little bit messed up here because I've just included a new scene this morning, so it's going to be the wrong music in for one of the scenes, I think. So one of the things I added yesterday was basically a kind of an instructions page. It's real simple. All I wanted to do here was kind of highlight, like, if you shoot the cigarette, the arm, the crotch, the hat, and then the body shot as well, because part of the fun of the game is actually shooting shooting the crotch and shooting the arm off and all of these things. So that's one of the things I wanted to highlight. So this is pretty basic, and I might not have that appear all the time. I think maybe there might be a way to skip it or turn it off, perhaps. I mean, you can just click next and go through. That's no problem. So you've already seen this, I think, the weapon select screen. That's working fine so far. Okay, and then the main game screen. So I just skipped over that actually because I wanted to show you the story screen, which I've not yet set up in sorry, that's not it. Let me find it. Storyboard. Okay, so this is going to come directly before the game, and then if you click next, it's basically going to be a play button. So I'm actually just going to change that to play right now whilst we're here. But I had some inspiration this morning. Basically, I'd kind of woken up and said, I can't remember which game I was thinking about, but I was thinking that most games have some kind of story connected to them. There's some kind of connection with the characters, like even Angry Birds has a story. The pig's trying to steal the eggs, and it's very basic, but it kind of makes it interesting and it adds character. And so I had some inspiration. I thought, why don't we include a story inside of one of the X series games? Because none of the ones before, like Ascend X or Tap Tap X or anything, they have no story. It's just gameplay, which is great. Everything is, for me personally, gameplay is the foundation on which everything else sits. It has to play good. It has to be fun. It has to have a good gradual curve and be easy to pick up. But I thought, why don't I include some story in this? Since we've got characters and since it's kind of, you are shooting guys. So originally the idea was that you're just sort of protecting a bunch of girls that are being chased by the guys, and you've got to shoot all the guys. But I wanted to add a little bit more kind of personal character to it. So I actually sketched up this thing this morning, which is a real quick thing. I'm not an artist, as you can see, but this was just a really quick storyboard. And the kind of idea was that this is the main character here. So this would be you, the player, who's actually doing the shooting. His girlfriend's woken up and said, "Oh, hey, honey, I want some Chinese food." And the guy says, "Oh no, it's like 2 a.m. It's way too late." She says, "I know, but I'm hungry." He says, "Just go to sleep. It's okay. I'll go out and get some." And he says, "Okay, well, be careful. It's not safe at this time of night. Do you want some? Do you want to come with me?" And the guy says, "No, I'm too tired." "Okay, honey, back soon. I love you." And then, so the guy doesn't go with the girl, but the girl always gets killed in the game. You can't stop all of the guys. It's just a score-based game where you get as many points as you possibly can. But I think adding something like that adds a little bit more of a mission feel to the game. You know, like you've got to protect this girl, and hopefully there's some kind of connection there. Or, you know, I know these characters are very, very simple, as you can see here, but maybe that'll add a little bit more interest. I think, you know, especially since the girl will always die, and there's a scream at the end of the game as well, i.e., she's just been killed, and you can never save her. So you know, we'll see how that goes over anyway, and you know, if it's successful, then I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know what the feedback is. So anyway, so on the development side, the storyboard scene, basically all I've done here is I've created a bunch of planes for the 4 storyboards. I was going to have 6, but it's actually a little bit too small with 6. You know, I could have them all scrolling in or something like that, but one is I want to keep this game below 20 megabytes if possible. Unity, it allows you to build games that are under 20 megabytes, but you can't put a lot in there with the basic version. And this is the basic version that I'm running right now, so I can't strip out a bunch of libraries. But these storyboards, they're really simple, and I just built these inside of Photoshop, and they're basically just squares and circles using this, I don't know what this is called, the shape tool or something, and then just dragging out shapes and you know, making them look like they're supposed to look. And you know, I think I'm not, like I say, I'm not an artist, but I just kind of broke this down into pieces, and I thought, okay, you know, the guy's going to have to be in the foreground. We can use squares, blocks, and you know, the arms have to sort of move over, like go over the person, or they have to be laid in front of the person. So I think you know, hopefully people can recognize what these are. Like, this is a bed here. This is a night sky with some stars outside. You know, this is obviously the doorway. This is the guy going out. This is the girl. So I might have to like cut this bed up here so that it looks more like a bed. But we'll see about that. We'll, you know, maybe add some legs to the bed. Perhaps that might help a little bit. But I think it's fairly recognizable, especially as we're using the sort of like the, you know, the men's and women's toilet sort of sign here. This is obviously a girl with the skirt coming out like this. So what I want to do anyway is, you know, in this developer diary video, I just thought what I'll show everybody is how to do, kind of have these fade in. So this first storyboard is going to fade in, and the second one, the third one, and fourth one. And as that happens, I'm going to use this text is going to update up here. So people are going to get to read what the story is all about. And I might use a different color for the guy and the girl, just so it's kind of clear. I might be all cliched and not cliched, but I might stereotype a little and just use blue and pink, maybe. But the first thing is we want to have these things fading in so that I can see how fast they need to how quickly we should have them appear. So I think the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to make a script. So the script, it can be used across all games. This is not specific to Clear Shooting Sniper X. I can use this in future games as well. So I'm just going to call this one fade object over time. Now that can be fading in or fading out. I think I'll have the flexibility to rename it later. I can change that if necessary. But it's like the rotation script that I wrote a long time ago. Like this is just rotate, and I attach this to any kind of game object, and then I just define how fast I want it to rotate, and it rotates. So that's pretty useful. And having always when you develop, you know, consider that you can reuse your code and have them in future games. And since the X series are all part of the same series, it's, you know, it makes things a lot more efficient. So fade object over time. So double click. Let's open this. And what we want to do is basically set a variable, and we want to say time to fade. And this is going to be a float because we might have 1.5 seconds or something like that. I'm just going to set a default of 1 second. So basically what we want to get is, I'm not too concerned about the efficiency of this script right now, but I might want to, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the material in the awake function. So, blah, blah. Let me think. So it can be private, my material, extends material. I think this is how to do it if I remember correctly. And then my material, I copy this, equals material. I think that is right. No, sorry. This would be a it's renderer, I think. Renderer dot material dot color. See, I'm not sure how to do this one. You see, usually what we could use for a fade is we could use the animation editor, which is fine. It's great, but the problem is I want the flexibility of scripting so that I can just type in anytime very quickly and then it'll adjust. If we use the animation curve editor, what I have to do is make 4 separate animation curves and then basically have those for each of the 4 storyboards. So this one would start at 0 seconds, then it would go down, it would fade out, and then fade up. Then this one would start at 3 seconds, and then this one would start at like 5 seconds. So this just adds a little bit more flexibility. And so I just want to check that. Okay, so there's the alpha. It's inside of the material. So my material. Okay, so let me just figure this one out. Okay, so if I obviously want to update it in the update function. So this is again, the developer diary videos is just me thinking kind of live and trying to figure it out as we go along. These are not like pre-built tutorials or anything. This is just sort of showing everybody how the development process works and hopefully giving everybody some ideas for the developers who are watching, or perhaps people who are interested in game development as well. But I always say this, but check out the tutorials that we have on the channel. We just finished one called Pong, a Pong style game. It shows you how to make Pong inside of Unity, which is a tutorial that you can follow along to, so definitely check that out. So, I think this is the way to do it. So if I go my material, I think it's... just going to do it this way so that I can see the what all the library, the how do you say, the IntelliSense thing basically shows me what's available within inside of that particular API call. So that's why I'm using renderer right here. The alpha equals. Now I think what we want to do is initially we want to set everything to 0 in the alpha. 0 is fully transparent, and I think I want to use this mathf function .move towards. I think that will be okay. Current, target, and max delta. Okay, so the current. Alright, so the current one is this. The target would be fully opaque, which is 1.0 for alpha, and I'm going to fade that up over. Let me think. You see, the problem is I need to actually delay this function as well. Okay. Not material 1.0 time dot delta time times. I'm not sure how this is going to work actually. I think. Let's just say 2 for now, and then we can adjust that later. I think this should be okay. Now, one of the things that we want to do is basically have another variable that says start rendering. It's a private variable, sorry. Start rendering extends Boolean. So what this is because we want to. What we want to do is we want to delay the fade up. So we don't want everything to start once the scene loads, everything fade up at the same time. We want some to start fading up at 2 seconds later, maybe some at 4 seconds later. So what we need is a variable to say, should we start to fade this up, yes or no? So what I'm going to do is put if